AITA for refusing to sign a document my late dad's wife is pressuring me to. My father passed away 3 years ago from lung cancer which spread to his brain toward the end. It was an awful time for us and I miss him terribly. My mum died when I was 15 and when she died her life insurance, death in service benefit paid out and it paid off the rest of the mortgage on the house. Due to my dad being at that time an aggressive alcoholic, I moved out when I was 16. We still maintained a rocky relationship and the later years were much better. And we were very close. I loved him so much despite the bad stuff. A couple of years later he met his GF. Eventually they got married around 2015. I never totally got on with her, nothing in common and hard to relate with, but my dad was happy, and we had a polite relationship as I wanted my dad to have a companion. I've never considered her a stepmom. Anyway, after he died I found out that his will had been changed 2 weeks before he passed whilst he had a large brain tumor without my knowledge. I am one of the executors, so was quite surprised I wasn't told, which meant the sale of my parents' home would go from being split 3 ways to her getting half and my brother and I the other half to split. We were not happy with how this went down, but we have accepted the change to the will and moved on. She has now decided she wants to sell because she wants to move. She mentioned she wanted to get some work done on the house to increase the sale price, and I emailed her saying not to spend much as it wasn't worth it and it was unnecessary. She invited me over a few weeks ago to see the work and to give me some documents. When I got home I looked at the document she wanted me to sign, agreeing to deduct nearly £16,000 from the sale of the house to pay herself back for the work. Some of it was done ages ago and clearly for her living comfort, and other paperwork only gave quotes for work, not actual receipts or invoices. The terms of the will are that she could live there until her death, but she is responsible for the upkeep and maintenance as well as bills. She has lived there for 14 years rent-free with my dad and 3 years without him. My friends, family and I think is an absolute piss take to ask us for this money, considering it is our family home, which not only did both of our parents have to die for her to get, but is our only inheritance from our parents. She is now pressuring me to agree to this and I am not happy. I am being bullied by her to sign. She wrote the document, not a solicitor, and no solicitor has been involved from her end about this. She has now told me she will withdraw the property from the market if I don't agree. Which honestly, even though I am struggling financially and need to pay off debt, I don't care about, because if she lived there until she died then the house will just go to me and my brother, and her adult kids won't benefit from my parents. So AITA for protecting what's left of mine and my brother inheritance. Edit. Thank you all for your advice and help. It's been very reassuring for me. I'm speaking to legal assistance Friday. Story 2. AITA for not giving my child's survivor's benefits to my stepchildren. My child's father and I were together for 5 years and have a 2-year-old child together. Well before we met, he struggled with alcoholism, which had caused problems in his first family. He had 2 children prior, who he wasn't a good father to as he was mostly absent on benders. They were raised by their mother, who was apparently nice but flaky. By the time I met him, those kids were both over 18, and he had had years of recovery, so it was hard for me to judge. He was a loving and attentive father to our child, and so I didn't think about it. He died of liver failure when my child was 2, and now it's just us. He had nothing but medical debt, which I didn't inherit thankfully as we weren't married, so all my child has is survivor's benefits until they are 18. My child's father's 2 older children, my stepchildren, are both over 18, so they aren't eligible for anything. I currently use it as child support and save as much as possible for college and a future nest egg. My stepkids have figured out that as a minor, my child is getting money and are clamoring for their share. They are claiming that since it's the only inheritance, it should be split equally among all 3 of his children, not just all for the one who was the lucky age. They also say that because he was absent and bad for them, they deserve his money. It isn't more anyway. They've gotten some of his relatives to agree with them, and now I'm stuck choosing between risking my child's future or risking burning bridges that I'd rather not burn because they are my child's only connection to their father. I am currently refusing. I realize that he was bad and absent, but I don't think that's on me or my child to fix. But is the money worth nuking half my child's family relationships? Story 3. AITA for moving out because my girlfriend moved her mom in. A few months ago I was near the end of my lease, and instead of renewing it my girlfriend asked me to move in with her. Our relationship was at that level and she needed help with rent since her hours were cut and she had been dipping into her savings to get around, so it just made sense. I ended up paying 60% of all shared costs. We were gonna go 50/50, but since her hours were cut and I already made more than her before that happened, so I figured it would allow her to replenish her savings. It was pretty great for a few months until she out of the blue told me her mom was gonna come live with us as she had lost her job and house. I told her I was not comfortable with that and asked if there were alternatives. She said that she could live with her grandma, her mom's mom, but that her mom felt it was humiliating, so that was a no-go. I still told her I was not okay with this. Apparently living with your adult daughter and her boyfriend is less humiliating. Now it is worth noting that her mom is weird. She is very obsessive, entitled, high maintenance, puts her nose where it doesn't belong, and is a very dominant do-it-my-way type of person. She once had a meltdown because my girlfriend baked a cake for her nephew's birthday, and so did her mom. She did not know about this, but my girlfriend's cake was better and meltdown. I got dozens of stories like this. My protests were ignored, and 4 weeks ago her mom moved into the guest room. Day 1 was already a shitshow. I was going on a grocery run and noticed my grocery list had a ton of extra shit on it. When I asked her, mom said she added it. So I asked her for money and she said she had none, and my girlfriend acted like I was a dick for asking. It turned into an argument with my GF where she said it's her name on the lease, so her choice who lives there. Long story short, I noticed in the store all of the stuff she added was brand stuff and costs way more. And when I got at the cash register, I had to pay $220 where I usually spend like $90 at most for the two of us. I put it on my GF's card, cause fuck I ain't paying for that. When I got home, I called a buddy, asked him if I could crash at his place for a few weeks at most while I look for a new apartment. He asked his girlfriend and they called me back later giving me the okay, and I moved out the next day. I am moving into a new place in a week. Obviously we were barely on speaking terms when I left. Now that we started talking again, she has been adamant I am in the wrong, and the only reason I did what I did was because it was her mom and not someone else. Had it been her dad, I would have been fine with it, and I can't deny that. Lol, her dad is great. Am I here?